Not gonna lie, when he shook my hand and he said, "Welcome, you're a pilot now," I was thinking, how did this happen? I didn't pass my driving test the first time, the written part or the driving part. Hi everybody, my name is Abby. Welcome to my channel. I post a whole lot of different types of videos. I post vlogs and fitness and adventure, and I try to post about flying and being a student pilot. But if you've stuck around my channel over this past summer, I took my private pilot check ride and I passed this past July. The check ride is basically the final exam that you take after you get your 40 hours of flying, but it's also two parts. So the first part is going to be an oral examination. They're going to ask you questions and talk to you from the ACS and see how much you know, and ask you about the sectional and about the cross country you're going to plot. So that's the talking portion, that's the first part. And the second part is going to be the flying part, the actual practical part. It's your final exam before you can become a private pilot, which is officially a pilot. I say officially because you can't actually be paid to be a pilot, so a lot of people just get their private pilot when they're flying for fun or they just want to fly their own plane, but it's the first step into working commercially as a pilot and hopefully eventually one day getting paid. Change the setup a little bit because the lights are dead on that side and I don't want you to see that, so I try to zoom in a little bit. When it happens really depends on you and how fast you did your training. I was able to fly about 3 to 4 times a week, and I started the very last day, the 31st of March, and I finished July 20th. So I roughly did my training in about 3 months, and then the extra month or so was because of weather and because we had to wait to schedule the examiner to take it with me. Right there, I was about at 43 hours, I think, when he did my endorsement and when we signed up on IACRA online, and then when he started contacting DPEs, designated pilot examiner. You can take it with them or you can take it with an FAA official. But the difference between DPE and an FAA examiner for your check ride, they're exactly the same. They're both going to examine you according to the pilot certificate Airman standards. The FAA official is going to be free. You don't have to pay for them, but it's not really worth it. I just went with a DPE and paid their fee because you're gonna have to wait forever to get an FAA official. It depends on where you live too, but for me it just wasn't practical, so I just went ahead with a DPE. I'm not going to share price because that is totally dependent on your DPE. Some of them want you to pay more money if they have to come to you, like if they live super far out and they have to drive or fly in to test you, they're gonna like bump up your fee by like $50 to $100. It really depends on them. But I paid under $1,000 and over $300 just to give a really rough ballpark. So it was definitely a lot of money. It is the most expensive flight I have ever paid for in my life, but the total check ride did last about 8 hours. It was kind of an all day thing. We were there 9 a.m. to I think 4:30 p.m. Bring to the testing center is, first of all, before you do test, make sure you really do have all the hours you need. I say that really please do, because I have friends, I've talked to student pilots and private pilots and personal friends at the airport where I work, and one of them, he failed his commercial check ride because he was missing, I think, 0.5 or 1.2, but not too big of a deal. He didn't realize that he was missing it, so he wasn't able to take the check ride, and he had to take a whole nother month trying to book the plane and trying to get the hours. So definitely make sure you actually have all the required hours and have you and your CFI talk about it and go through your logbook and make sure everything is organized before you go to the DPE and sit down and hand them the check, and then he goes, "Oh,
guess what? Actually, you're 0.3 short on your night flying. We're not going to be testing today."
My sectional and my E6B and my rotating plotter, just like I took those two to my written exam, which I also made a video about. It's going to be at this little bloggy thing that like recommends videos, you know what I mean? FAR AIM, I got the 2018. Before I showed you guys I had the 2017, and I tabbed it. You can highlight it a little bit too, but just know general, like what Part 91 talks about, 61 talks about certification, so know your way around it. Like the Bible of flying, it's the Bible of aviation, so just know your way around it. And then I took this little folder, a legend from a sectional, an old sectional, and cut it and just pasted it to this for quick reference. And very DIY, you know me. That I didn't actually use, which I'm going to talk about. A personal minimums paper, which is something a pilot told me to take to my check ride because they had their DPE ask them, "Oh, do you have personal minimums written out?" And it's kind of a contract. It's literally defined as a contract you make with yourself to make sure that you don't ever fly when it doesn't meet this contract or when it doesn't feel safe. So I kind of wrote down I'm not going to land on a runway that is shorter than this length or smaller than this width. This little paper, which is also really handy. Pave and I'm safe. Just as a reminder, you should have those memorized, but I mean, it's fine to have a reminder. It's perfectly okay. And then this, which I think I have upside down. Some of the stuff he's going to ask you for sure, and some of it was just visual aids to remind me, like places where I have problems kind of remembering sometimes to jog memory, because the Checkride is open book. You are allowed to take your notes with you, you're allowed to look through Farian, you're allowed to access all of that. I'm not showing it because there's just a lot of personal information on it, but I have my written endorsements for my teacher. So he has to endorse you that you're a US citizen. He has to endorse you for your written exam, which he already has, again, the video, and I have it in here. And then he has to endorse you for the practical exam, and then he has to endorse you for your solo, and then he has to endorse you for night flying, and just a lot of endorsements that you have to have your study plan, what you used for flight training. And we used this really cheesy picture, Rod Machado, who is really great because he focuses a lot on stick and rudder, so a lot of feel flying, and that's what got me my private pilot in like 3 months. So hey, he's a great guy.
Like, oh look, this day we did that.
And I used to actually write the date of it on the top, and then I kind of just stopped because life got really crazy. And what I also have printed out in here, because you need a printed out copy at your Checkride. And it's 2017, which I got wrong, because my DP looks at that and he goes, you know, they change and sometimes they have really drastic changes, and it was 2017. I was like, shoot, that is so stupid. Just make sure everything's the correct year for what you're taking. There are some things that you're probably noticing that I didn't show. Bring your logbook, your wallet and your logbook and your ID and the money. Bring the money for your DPE in cash or check. They're also going to tell you what they want, what they accept. Bring it in like a little nice envelope and say to whatever their name is. Maybe add a heart, maybe add a smiley face. Just, you know, just maybe add a little bit of money to like bribe them. No, actually, I just heard a story. There was a guy that tried to bribe his DPE and he tried to pay him extra money. The police got alerted and the guy like got his license revoked. Not that he ever had it. And I don't think he's even able to fly anymore. So do not bribe your DP. That is not a good idea. In cartoons it is not a good idea. You do need to bring the prop logbook and the logbooks on maintenance and on the aircraft, and I got that from the school. I didn't buy that. I asked my chief pilot and my boss at work. I did complete my training really quick, and at the end of June, me and my instructor were kind of talking about, okay, like, let's sign you up. This is a big moment. This is what we waited for. I see if I did all the communicating with the DPE. He emailed him and called him in the first couple weeks, and then later, about a week before my Checkride, the DPE scheduled me my cross-country flight, and we were talking, and at that point it was fine to call him or to text him. But people do it differently, but I think the more formal way of doing it is to have your CFI contact the DPE first, because it's just more proper. Scheduled it for me, and I originally wanted to go with a woman DPE, and she didn't get back to us in time, so we waited a couple days. I think we waited a week, and we were like, okay, she's not responding. So then we went with the guy DPE, who I ended up taking and passing, and I love him. He was the best DPE ever. He was honestly so cool, and he was really tall and barely fit in the 152, but he's awesome, and I've been recommending him to everyone at work, and because of that, he actually has like so many Checkrides this month. I've seen him almost every day that I'm in at work because a lot of students are taking him now. I'm gonna call him Peter. Me and Peter were contacting about a week before my Checkride date, which was Friday the 20th. Peter sent me my cross country, and he said a little fake made up story, and he said, hey, you wanna take a friend to go have seafood, and he gets a little bit airsick sometimes, and you guys are gonna be flying over water. Plan this route. So I started planning my flight. I started planning my cross country, and I flew about once a week the 3 weeks before my Checkride. Really nervous. I was trying to go over that orange binder that I showed you guys and over my other black notebook that I had and that I wrote in when I was taking the written exam, and I was watching some Sporties courses that my CFI kindly lent to me. So I was watching those, and I was watching every YouTube video ever. You'll probably see me comment Veni Vidi Amat. You're gonna see my comment because I commented on like every Checkride prep ever. Without any like formal formula to pass your Checkride. It's just remember the skills that you already have so far now that you're at 43 hours, and review hard spots online.
I think that's about it.
I almost fell on this chair. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you are feeling really ready for your check ride if you're about to take it, or if you're thinking of it in the future, go for it, do it. I have no regrets. I should also add that. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a good one. It's kind of funny. It's kind of like, reminds me of when my cousin, before he became a Marine, you can't like look him in the eyes and you can't do certain things, but then after you're a Marine, they treat you like family because you're one of them. And I feel like that's kind of how it is when you're a student pilot. It's like, no, don't talk to the DPE. You were not at this position yet. Don't talk to them. So your CFI talks to them. And then once you're a private pilot, it's like people still kind of hate you, but now you're actually a pilot, so you can contact people. Now just, hey, everything's good. Everything's great. I almost fell that time. It has one wheel broken. Oh, it's not focusing. So it's a like 3-wheeled chair. Wait. Oh, okay. You sign up. Thinking going on in the background. Let's see if you're gonna stop filming again. On the floor, and I'm lazy, but bring your his loss. I mean, okay, you're actually filming and I didn't actually fall. Oh, I haven't actually fallen yet, so. Oh, Jesus, give me strength.